Yo, what's up, Oats? $17? That's crazy. Yo, what's up, Uvis? How you doing? I wonder. Oh, dude, that's so close. Second dare is kind of boring, though. It's like I can't get up fast enough to get him. And then also have the time. Oh, there we go. He's kind of hitting the ground, though. I need to, like, get up there really fast, and then, like... I don't know. It's like I can't get down to the ground fast enough. But it's like, it seems like it's close to working. Man, that's a bummer. It'd be sick. Oh! You got that one. We have to wait a little bit. Like... Oh, I just have to weak hit. Okay, wait a second. Wait a second, I can definitely do this. Wait a second. Okay. Yeah, look at that. It's not really useful for anything, but it's sick. Let's see. Okay. I am gonna call if you're ready. Okay. Gonna start the lesson. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Just been enjoying watching some Gommel stuff and chilling out today so far. Okay, so maybe you can do a quick intro for the stream. Just say your tag, where you're from, how long you've been playing, and what are your goals for the game.
My tag is Austin currently. It used to be Miztech. I've been playing for 17 years.
Okay.
And my current goal is just to be #1 on the local PR, so nothing too crazy.
Okay.
I switched to box 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I mained Falco for the first 10 years I played, and then I switched to Fox for the next 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I switched back to Falco just this year. So I've been on Falco, back to Falco for like 5 months.
Kind of like the Kalindi thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Alright, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and what do you want to go over today? We're going over some Falco Marth, right?
Yeah, basically Marth has always been kind of a hard matchup for me, and I got pretty decent at it with Fox, but now I'm just kind of relearning matchups with Falco, and Marth is just giving me trouble, so...
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. It's definitely one of his harder matchups to learn. So I definitely feel that. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I've been watching some of your lessons on YouTube, and you know, I've taken a few things from there, some of which I haven't implemented. You know, like I think in this set that we're about to look over, I don't think I did any retreating lasers that I can recall, because I played this same person after bracket in another set just for fun, and I did a little better, and I made a conscious effort to do retreating lasers as part of my neutral plan.
Mm-hmm.
Retreating into approaching lasers, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, so you're saying you got that from one of my other lessons, or?
Yeah, I saw you talking about it and about how it kind of made a big difference for you in the Marth matchup.
Oh, it definitely does. Okay, yeah.
And I definitely have some pretty bad habits in this matchup. Like, I love to roll out of the corner, and every time I do it, I'm like, why did I do that? You know, just stupid stuff like that. But I'm sure we'll figure something out.
Okay, yeah, let's take a look. The screen share is working, right?
Yeah,
okay,
that's
cool.
it.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of watch for a second and see what I see. I definitely saw some stuff so far, but I'll wait a second to talk about it. was so good. Okay, so, yeah, so like you did sort of like kind of bad things a few times in a row in like a certain type of spot that I'll explain, and then you did a really good one right there. So that was good to see.
Yeah, that's something I have to remind myself of too. Is just to dash dance between my lasers sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I forget.
Okay. Okay. This is actually a pretty interesting match to watch and just see sort of how you're dealing with different options. I think the biggest thing that I'm sort of noticing watching it is that like the lasers don't seem to have a lot of intention behind them, and so it seems like you kind of use the lasers to try to like you use the lasers for part of their intended purpose, which is to kind of just pin Marth down in place, and then once you have him in place, you kind of just go for like an approaching mix-up. And I think that's not like a horrible way to play it, but I think that it's sort of missing out on part of what the lasers can accomplish. So like, let me just let this game finish, and then I'm gonna go back to the beginning and go over some stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Marth is rough sometimes. Okay, so
Yeah.
the other thing that jumped out, for sure, is that there weren't any like large punishes by you, and that's like a huge thing in this matchup. Okay, so
You're definitely right about that. Like I've been working on my combo game with against Marth, and this is not quite there yet, but you're definitely right about that.
it's a very complicated combo game. It's really not like it's easy in some ways, but in terms of like knowing which moves to use in a lot of spots, it's definitely difficult. So I don't super blame you for it, but it is one of those things where like once you start getting good punishes against Marth, the matchup it gets a lot easier. Like I definitely think you're not learning it in like a bad order. Like it's definitely better to learn sort of like the neutral game stuff that I can tell you're going for first, rather than just being like I'm gonna beat Marth by being cracked, because one of those just leads you to being like depressed. And this one is more like I'm doing pretty well, and then you every time you get better at punishing, you just jump up in performance, you know. So I think this is like a little bit better way to approach it than more going towards combos first, but. Okay, so one thing is that you really want to be careful against Marth at low percent, and this is true for like when he's at low percent, and this is true for almost every character that Falco fights. Like he kind of struggles at 0, mostly just because down air doesn't really super combo at 0. Like early down air does not combo into shine at 0. You need like a late down air. And then if they SDI so that the shine like doesn't immediately hit, like you can't get any sort of combo. And a lot of times you end up sort of doing stuff at 0, like down air grab. Like I always end up doing stuff like that because there's just not a lot you can do. So It's sort of like a top priority for me, like at the beginning of any stock, to try to get any percent I can, like with lasers, like every percent that Marth gets away from 0, even if you can get Marth to like 6% with lasers before you sort of start interacting, it completely changes, like, you know, it's the difference between down air shine working and down air shine not working, basically. So a lot of times when a match first starts or when a stock first starts, my priority is to either get like a random stray hit or to get like a bunch of lasers in a row before we like really interact. And if they want to super force the interaction before that, that's, you know, like if Marth wants to like try his hand at just like rushing me the entire time, then like, you know, he can be my guest, because Marth isn't really like that good at rushing in. So like that's sort of an opening thing that I like to do, because otherwise you end up getting sort of like, let's see, where is it? Like these types of things where like this nair jab or whatever, like, yeah, it's not great, but if Marth was at like 10%, you might have been able to get this jab before he hit the ground or something like that. You know, like it just makes a difference in terms of like anything you do will get super buffed by Marth just literally being like at 15. Like now that Marth is at 15, all of your moves just work 1,000 times better.
Right. So just kind of prioritize getting a decent little bit of damage before really going for a punish.
Yeah, or like risking yourself with like a real approach or something. Because there's just so many situations. It's mostly with like the down air, and so super ideally you want to get Marth to a percent where down air like knocks down. I think that's really good, because then down air, you can kind of toss out down airs, and if he's grounded, they're good, and if he's aerial, they're good. But before the sort of knockdown percent, I think it's like 30-ish, something like that. It's a little bit higher than 30, upper 30s maybe. But like basically, like that's sort of a percent to watch out for, because down air becomes useful against aerial and grounded. But then before that, you have that sort of weird like down air nair mix up, and like if he's in the air at 0 and you nair him, that's good. Like you're allowed to do that. And sometimes I'll get like openings at 0 where Marth will like come off a platform and I hit like laser nair at 0, and that's totally strong. But if Marth is even somewhat ambiguously kind of like grounded, it's just really annoying, because you have to make like that nair versus down air sort of read or guess, and a lot of times even when you hit the down air, you're not going to get like a punish at the low percent. So it just like kind of ruins your odds.
Right. So when you say early down air, do you mean like even like a frame one off the ground down air, or does it have to still be kind of delayed a little bit? You know, for like once he has some percent on him, can you do like an instant down air and still convert?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the crazy part about it. And that's why that, I don't know if you saw my triple down air clips.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, the reason the triple down air works is the first one you have to do really late, but then the second one, you can kind of do the early down air, and it'll still combo into like a shine. So then you just delay it a little bit, and then you can get the next down air out of it. So it's just that like as his percent goes up, the hit stun goes up, and you can get a lot more, there's a lot more leniency on like, you know, the down air shine type stuff. And
for sure, yeah, that's something I haven't really conceptualized. Like I don't think about that when I'm playing the matchup. You know, I don't think about the fact, okay, Marth is 0, I need to get some percent before I try to get a meaningful punish.
Yeah, I don't think about it too hard. Like I don't think about like exactly which percents I need to get him to. I just sort of tell myself, like, if I can get Marth into, like, the 10s or the 20s, my chances for comboing him to death go massively up. Because I can't really 0 death Marth, but I can, like, 20 to death Marth. Right. So it's just, like, a kind of a huge thing. It's really important for Falco in basically every single matchup to get the opponent off of 0%. Except for characters like Puff, where you're not gonna combo her to death anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Like you just want damage from the get-go against Puff.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have this laser, but then what is this laser? I'm curious about. So this was totally good. So the double laser in place is totally good, and you just jump over. You're completely safe. It was a good stalemate. Actually put you in like a pretty good position, and you just sort of made a read here. So like this was actually like, in this little pocket, you did everything right. Or like this is like a spot where there was nothing done wrong, where you just like double laser, he power shield, jump over, you put yourself in an advantage state, you make like a safe read by crouching here, and he drifts by. Totally fine. Like this is just like good play. This laser was a little suspect. This is like one of the spots where I would have liked the retreating laser. Just because there's so many spots. So basically, the general idea of this matchup that goes beyond everything is that sort of like Marth can kind of like, the reason why it's hard is that Marth can kind of just like reach for random stuff and get kills. And that is sort of like our main goal is to minimize that from Marth. And so a lot of times if you just throw out random moves in Marth's direction and Marth throws out random moves in your direction, like Falco loses that. And so a big part of playing this matchup and a big part of using the lasers in this matchup is sort of trying to make sure you only interact in positions where the chaos that Marth, or not the chaos, but like Marth sort of throwing out random moves would be bad for him. Like you kind of just want to be like, sorry, okay, I kind of misspoke there. So you want to make it so that Marth doing sort of throwing out moves randomly is not going to be good for him. And then you try to make sure you only interact in positions where you have like pretty good odds to get an opening versus him. So it's kind of like versus his chances to get an opening. So it's kind of like if you spam moves at each other, maybe you slightly win the neutral, but he like massively wins the punish. And you can sort of bring that down to a level where like you slightly win the neutral and the punish is mostly even. And that is like the goal in this matchup, is to semi-equalize the punish game while abusing your neutral advantage to win.
I think one of the things that I'm having trouble with in neutral, now that you're saying that, is making me think of when I played Fox in this matchup. You know, you can wait for things like a short hop instant fair for Marth or a short hop nair, and you can sometimes like run in under him and up smash or like whiff punish it more easily because of the speed of Fox. But with Falco, I feel like it's harder for me. I don't even know if I should really be going for a lot of whiff punishes on certain things, you know.
So no, so you should definitely be whiff punishing. The difference with Falco is that like Fox has like a bunch of situations where he can't whiff punish, and then a bunch of situations where he can. And Falco has like a couple that he can actually whiff punish. And then, like, the grand majority, he can't whiff punish with, like, a move. But he can punish a lot of those situations that he can't, like, get to with his move with, like, a laser that puts him at more of a neutral advantage. So, like, for instance, like, against, like, Marth short hop fairing, sometimes as Fox, you can react to Marth short hop fair and get, like, a nair in. But Falco runs slower, and he has a longer jump squat, and it sort of makes, like, Marth fair sort of just work. Like, you can't react to the first fair and then nair him, like you can with Fox. And that definitely is, like, a weakness for Falco there. But your advantage there is that when you see the fair, you can shoot a laser, and then Marth is put in an awkward spot where he can either, like a lot of times he'll honestly just get laser naired, laser faired, laser up tilted, laser up smash, depending on the position. But when a lot of times you can't make it to him and he fairs. Like, let's say he's kind of too far across. Like, you're here and he's, like, here in place. And he does short hop fair for whatever reason. Like, he thinks you're going to dash in. You wave dash back and he does short hop fair here. So normally this would just be way too far away to punish. And even for Fox, you're not going to be able to get into punish underneath the fair if he instant fairs right here. But so Falco is unique in this way, where when Marth is trapped in the air here, all you have to do is do, like, depending on the timing and spacing and everything, but you can just do like either like approaching laser, like a short approaching laser, or just dash back, dash in approaching laser, and you get this sick position where like Marth is here and he gets hit by the laser, and you're kind of here where you're like not close enough to, like, you know that spot where Marth is in the air and you laser him and you're like not right on top of him, so you can't just like laser nair and combo kind of, but
yeah.
And you know he wants to fair, so what you can do is you can laser and then just be right outside of the max range of his fair, and it basically puts him in a position where he can either maybe try to stalemate by double jumping or moving backwards, or he can try to get his little cheeky, like, Marth give me for free type fare thing he does, and then you might just punish that with like your aerial. So Falco doesn't have as many like direct punishes as Fox on Marth stuff, but he has a lot more like advantage out of Marth doing something, even in a lot of spots that Fox, like in spots where Fox can't get anything, Falco can turn that into like an advantage and then play that advantage rather than turning it into like a direct opening.
Makes sense.
So let's see. So yeah, so this laser approach was a little weird. I feel like it doesn't. So the main thing with spacing, there's like two things with spacing lasers on Marth. Well, I guess a couple more that are like a little important. And so basically, if you are, okay, what's the cleanest way to go about this? Sorry, give me 1 sec. I'm just trying to think of the easiest way to explain like the way the lasers work against Marth. Okay, so our number one threat is like approaching Nair from Marth. And so basically the way that lasers function against Marth a lot of the times in like sort of practical neutral is that you are sort of using the lasers to protect against various gambles from Marth. Like that's kind of how this matchup works from the Marth side, is you kind of like pick an interesting Nair and try to hit Falco with it, or find an interesting fair and try to hit Falco with it. And so from the Falco's end, there's a lot of positions where you'll sort of do like, let me just actually pull up Dolphin. I feel like this will make it a little easier. Okay. So, oops, wait, I definitely did the wrong one. Okay, so... Okay, so there's a lot of spots where, like, let's say I'm like here and I get a laser off on Marth. There are a few things that I can do. So I can get into the aggressive options out of lasers in a second, but in terms of defense, which is, like, the defense against Marth is the most important thing. Just because his whole style against Falco is to throw out random moves and hope they hit. So something super important to know about is the laser dashback against Marth. Laser dashback is literally insane against Marth. So watch this. Let me show it from here. So I do laser dashback from there. Let me do record. Oops, and I do laser dashback. So if I do that and then I get hit as Marth, like, I literally can't get anywhere close. There's nothing I can do that'll hit Falco at this range. I can, like, try, like, a double approach type thing, but I, like, can't get in. Okay, so watch this. What if I do these lasers from here? So, let's do save position, record. This might be a little too close, but let's see. Like, there's nothing I can do to hit Falco. Like, there's just nothing that you have to hit him at this range. Even if I, like, super try to press forward with, like, I just can't get him ever. And so Falco has this super nice thing where he can kind of, like, laser dash back Marth and just be safe from anything. And so there's a lot of positions where you'll do something like, let me see, where you get something like this and you kind of do... let's see. Like that. And then, so what happens from the Marth end is you get lasered, and it's so hard to do it. And you get something kind of like that, where he's trying to prevent you from hitting him. It's hard to do it as just recording it. But basically, like, the idea is, like, because this laser dashback is totally safe, but you're also at a range where Marth feels, like, very threatened, you can sort of use the lasers to, like, protect yourself, but in a way that's, like, semi-threatening for Marth. And you can sort of do these laser dashbacks at a bunch of ranges where he's sort of uncomfortable and he just sort of gets pressured by it without really risking anything for you. So let's see. What was the other one that I wanted to talk about? Was this one. So this is like another super, super common situation that happens, and this is something that Marths want every time. So they want you do this and this. And I don't know why you're doing that, but people do that constantly. And so what happens is you get... Oop. Oh, I totally misrecorded this. Okay. So let's see. Here. And then I do... So let's see. A little bit further. So like here. Like something like that, right? Like that's a really common Falco pattern. And what the Marth does... What's going on? There we go. Yes, what the Marth does here is they do something like... Oops. Like, that's super... It's actually so hard to deal with the lasers when you actually put yourself in a position. So,
Yeah.
This is part of why approaching lasers is so good against Marth, is because they actually hit at, like, a really, close range. So let's say Marth, like, CCs it or something. He can get these off. He can get, like, the Nair off. And he can get these Nairs off at, like, a different range if you don't do the approaching laser, like, quite so cleanly and stuff. This is just a really common situation, basically, where Marth, you sort of do this laser, and then he does that in there. And so the idea is that, like, you kind of do that, and then you get naired immediately out of, like, a laser approach. So that is just, like, a super common situation for this matchup. And so the way to kind of play this is you kind of do, like, this, and then you do that. Where you do this, and then you get this nice whiff punish on it. And so, a lot of these situations are, you kind of can make Marth feel trapped with your lasers, because he can't reach out and hit you. And a lot of times when he tries to do it, you will then get kind of like a punish on him. Because he's kind of reaching out for you. Does that make sense? And that is like the majority of the time where you're going to get an opening on Marth, is you can kind of safely use the lasers to like make him not be able to hit you, and you're waiting for him to try to kind of reach out, and you can either convert that reach out into like a direct punish, like a down air on his nair, or you can do it into sort of like an indirect punish where you fair him, or you like laser him out of the air and then dash dance and wait for his falling aerial. And I'm sure you've seen Mango do that a ton, where he does laser dash back, Zane instant fairs, and then Mango just down airs it.
Yeah.
So, and if you watch Mango VODs, you'll see that constantly. And that is kind of like the #1 way you're going to get openings on Marth for trying to hit you. So let me just finish this explanation before we go back to the VOD, because I feel like it'll help. So basically, actually, I should probably have left Dolphin open just to show the positions on the screen. And let me know if you have any questions about what I'm saying. I'm just kind of running through what I know about this.
For sure. Yeah, you're good so far. It's making sense.
Okay, so there's a position where basically, so this is sort of something that's really common, where you sort of can establish this idea. So let's say you practiced it and you got this idea down where, like, Marth doesn't feel comfortable attacking you. And there's also stuff you can do where you kind of do this type of thing. This is so strong against Marth, just because he goes like this a lot. He'll, like, try to dash and grab you here. Or dash in and, like, he can do stuff like that, but he'll try to dash attack or do this, or honestly he'll just sort of dash dance, and he'll kind of just get like clipped while he's doing this dash dance sometimes by just pressing left right. And notice it sucks at 0, but it's still like a really good option. And so you basically combine the laser dash back stuff with these like down air type walling things, and it puts Marth in a situation where he doesn't really want to like go in. And so now that you've established that he doesn't really want to go in, then you start getting stuff like this, where you're like, you hit this laser right here, and instead of doing the dash back, you get this, right? Which is like a really common situation, and it's like, it hits Marth if he's a little slow on his dash back. It won't actually hit Marth for being super on time from this distance. And so what happens is a lot of times you get this, right? I'm sure you've had this happen 10 million times.
Many times.
Yeah. And so this always will happen. And so basically, on the aggressive end of this matchup, the center stage thing is all that matters. So if you are not in a position where Marth is in the corner and you are in center stage, you should assume that Marth is going to be dashing back a lot. like a considerable amount of the time, Marth will be doing this out of this option. Because if he does this fair, or he does this up tilt, like I'm doing, like I'm literally mashing up tilt, mashing down tilt, mashing jab, I can kind of trade it. Like, he can't really get a lot, so he's gonna do this a lot. And even if he dashes in, like, he can't dash under Falco Dare, like he can Fox Dare. Or Fox, like, Nair or whatever, sometimes. So he's gonna be doing this a lot. And the counter to this is that... Alright, let me explain this situation. So, what is Marth's worst situation? It's when he's in the corner. Marth is so bad in the corner against Falco. And the reason is, he can't dash back. And part of the reason he sucks at going backwards is because he's bad off the ledge. So when he's on the ledge, he has a really hard time getting off the ledge, because he's doing this, and then, like, you know, Marth, you're doing this, and then Falco's doing... Oops. Oh, I did not save the state. RIP. Okay. But basically, Marth is on the corner, or on the edge, and Falco's doing this, right?
Yep,
and
I do exactly that. Yeah. Like 9 times out of 10.
Okay, so this is like what you should be doing. And so basically, Marth on the ledge is just this... I call it like an 80-20 matchup for Falco. Like, Falco on stage versus Marth on the edge. You just get so many openings. So, at like 80-90, you get laser dash attack into down air. It's a true combo. At most percents, you get something like laser grab. Or not most percents, but a lot of situations, like laser grab is so incredibly good in the corner. And then a lot of times you can just do like laser this, and you catch them rolling out of the corner, and you get like some combo or something. Or you can do this, and you catch them jumping out. There's only a couple things they can do. They can, like, dash out, and the down air beats that. We already went over, like, that retreating down air. Or they can, like, nair in place, in which case they get lasered again. Or they can, like, nair in which case they either get dash back down aired, or they get, like, stuffed with the nair into, like, a forward smash, or, like, a lot of times if they do this, like, approaching nair out of the corner, you just get, like, laser, nair, down air, you know, at, like, 70 or something, and they just die because they were holding towards you. Like, if they're holding towards you and they get naired, they're survival DIing and you just down air them. So they're kind of scared of, like, drifting in there. Same thing as the dash attack. If Marth is in the corner like this, and he does nair, and he drifts forward, and you dash attack him, you just get that nice down air. Just combos if he holds in. So Marth off the edge is just horrible. And so it's okay for Marth to be on the edge, because like if you're like edge guarding and you're like, oh, I can't get him, it's like, oh, he's on the edge. It's kind of like Peach on the edge. You're just like, great, like I will do this and just have like a massively winning neutral game where you can't stop me from coming in, and you also can't stop me from holding you in the corner. So because this position, so I like to think of this area as like, when Marth is there, this is like 80-20. So then if this is 80-20, then Marth is here, he really doesn't want to go to here, because it'll put him at a big disadvantage. And because it'll kind of put him at a big disadvantage, being in the corner is extra bad, because it's just one step away from the ledge. And so you can kind of think of it as like Marth is at max power, less power, less power, less power, less power, no power. Like he's kind of losing power as he loses stage to dash back on. And so a big thing in this matchup is you want this defense that you do, like, where you're kind of doing like this thing where you kind of like do this, and then sometimes you'll kind of press it just a little bit to go in. And what that'll cause Marth to do is he'll kind of take laser dash back, and he'll look for it, and he'll do this, and then he'll take laser dash back again, and take laser dash back again, and then he's in the corner, and you're just sitting here lasering in place, and he's just dead. Or in a bad spot. So that is something that actually comes up a lot. And so that's why the most important thing for you to do on defense is to be able to like hold this sort of space, get like these sort of like this into this, and then so that's why I really like this like retreating laser, approaching laser thing, because I get this, which is totally safe, and then I get this, which is totally safe, and then I do this dash back, which is totally safe. So it's like safe, safe. And that's why this repeating it is like safe, 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 safe. And like Marth doesn't have any options that like hit that at all. And you're getting laser damage, and then also when you do lasers in place against Marth, he can power shield them way easier because he just knows the set timing from you. But if you're doing this, and they're kind of at different heights and they're kind of at different timings as you're moving back and forth, these are so many times harder to power shield than like this. And Marth has such a consistent power shield that it makes kind of a big difference. And also, like, when you're getting these, like, retreating approaching, if you land the approaching, not only is, like, the approaching laser, like, sort of, like, a smaller window, right, like, between the lasers, because you're moving forward, but it also, like, lets you get this, like, drift forward thing, like, see how, like, when I land, I sort of slide forward a bunch? And that slide forward gets you way closer to Marth. So there's situations where, like, let's say Marth does... let's see, we're here. And he goes, like... And I'm just, like, mashing fair there, okay? Then, if I do... Is he gonna mash fair? Yeah. So he's doing this, and it's like... Okay, so if I do get this... if I do the approaching laser, I get close enough to hit him. But if I'm here in the same spot and I do this laser in place, I can't get him. I
see, yeah. That makes sense.
So,
that's definitely something that I wasn't consciously aware of, is the fact that you get that little slide in. That makes a difference for sure.
And so, a lot of this matchup ends up being like, you can control the space around you, and you can play the defensive laser game, and then you can kind of do a little bit of aggression, just a little bit of, like, forward movement, and a lot of times it'll cause Marth to move back, and then you just move forward and take that space and, like, kind of resume your defense in that spot as you push Marth to the corner. And as he's getting pushed to the corner, his neutral just gets, like, worse and worse. And that's sort of the general game plan. I know it took a lot to kind of go over it, but it's a little complicated, so... But, okay, so let's look at this match under that lens and sort of look at why certain things work or don't work. So we already talked about the low percent thing. And then, so this laser is fine, except the second one was a little weird. Okay, let's just get past this part. Okay, so this down air was okay, I guess. I don't really like it because Marth can still dash back here. And he's not interrupted by any laser or anything, huh?
I was just going to say, I've found myself kind of doing that habitually, not just against Marth, but against other matchups too sometimes, because I kind of is, like, making a read, I guess, that they're going to either wave dash towards me or dash towards me. And when the read fails, it just leads to me getting punished, so...
Well, if you're in a situation or a matchup where... if that down air will get you a bigger punish than you'll get punished, then maybe it could be worth it. But in this situation where if Marth grabs you here, he can kill you, and it's pretty unlikely you're going to kill off of a down air at 15. You could, but it's pretty unlikely, especially on Battlefield. So it's just not like a super good gamble. And I really want you to get focused at, like, eliminating things like these, because... you know what, like, there's, like, a word people used to describe it as, like, leaks. Like, if you have, like, leaks in your matchup, then, like, that's can be really bad. And in the Marth matchup, the leaks are, like, the most important thing. Like, if you're doing 90% of the things right, and then there's 10% that are a little, like, leaky, like, sometimes it's a little messier and he can kind of hit you, those will, like, almost make it seem like the 90% isn't good either. So it can, like, because you'll just get hit and die and lose a lot despite, like, trying to follow the plan if you just fail to follow the plan at any point. So it's just something to super watch out for against Marth, is, like, you have to kind of follow the plan religiously for a while until you get good at that plan. Because any sort of variation from the plan can a lot of times just get you killed. One quick thing to mention, a lot of times, if you get cornered, Falco is also, he has a really hard time against Marth in the corner. Not quite as bad of a time as Marth has when he's in the corner, but a lot of times if you're on a platform stage, the right answer is to either just go to side plat or to full hop to top plat. Staying on the ground is not super, super good, because he gets these kind of, like, gambly things a lot, like this, where he can just sort of throw out moves in the corner and, like, get you. And he could have, like, forward smashed there or anything. And they're always ready for these rolls. They're always ready for the roll. But it's like, if you had full hopped here, it's like, yeah, you don't feel great, but do you feel better or worse than being in the corner? You know, that's kind of how I take it, is like, the full hop might still be like a sort of disadvantage because he can kind of shark me, but I'm getting like corner sharked here. Like, I'm getting pressured harder here than I am up here. And so I prefer the full hop, even though it's not like... The roll is a little bit greedy, because you're like, not only do I want to get out of the corner, but I want to now be safe and to have you in the corner. And it's like, well, that's why they're so ready for it, is because it takes you from a big disadvantage to a big advantage. Whereas if you go from a big disadvantage to a slightly smaller disadvantage, then to an even position, and then you come down with a laser, you know, that's like a better way to work your way out of the corner. Something that actually does help is thinking of it in those words, like, I'm going to work my way out of the corner, rather than like, I need to just get out of the corner, like I need to be back in center. It's like, no, I'm gonna work my way out. I'll figure out a way out of the corner. And it's like a nice in this matchup, because when Marth is in the corner, he feels it even more. Like, he has to really work his way out of the corner. So it's easy to keep it in mind when you're like a bit more focused on keeping Marth cornered, I think.
Yeah, speaking of the full hop out of the corner, I don't know if I did it much here, but probably not. But I've noticed that sometimes if I full hop out of the corner and with a little bit of forward momentum, like I'm full hopping to top plat, but then I like drift back towards side plat, it kind of, against certain players, it'll bait them to go to cover top plat, and then I'll land on side plat safely.
Yeah, no, and the same thing, it's like, that actually happens to me against like Kadoran, is I will go to, it's something similar anyway, where like I'll go to top plat, but he'll be a little late covering it, and I'll just shield and then shield drop aerial it. That happens a lot, actually, because Marth has trouble kind of reaching the platforms in a lot of cases, like, quickly. So, yeah, no, those mix-ups that you're thinking with, like, the drift back and Marth kind of getting baited, yeah, like, platforms are really good against Marth for, like, they're really good against Marth because they're safe, but Marth doesn't believe that they're safe, so he'll keep trying to hit you, and then you can just kind of punish him for it, if they're dumb. In a real situation where the Marth knows everything about the matchup, they'll probably do kind of like a couple safe reads where they have maybe a 20-30% chance of hitting you for your full hop, and then like otherwise they'll let you back. But other, like, the Marths who aren't as good, they'll always just reach for it, and you get, that's kind of the West balls, is you just full hop and then people try to hit you for it and you drift back and you get free openings. So no, that is definitely good, and definitely don't worry about doing that. Okay, so this is a thing I wanted to mention, because this perfectly exemplifies like what I was talking about. So you get this nice laser, and Marth shields here. So, okay, so this is a little bit different than, So basically, the corner thing I was talking about is only relevant when Marth is taking laser, because when he shields the laser, he's like in a way worse position where he can't dash away. So whereas like I don't super advocate against trying to like hard pressure Marth in center stage when he's taking laser, I do think that you can like get really good pressure here, like, because you're not really playing to push him back into the corner once he's shielded. You're trying to make him stay in shield, and you're trying to make him throw out a move out of shield or wave dash in. So he can basically wave dash back, aka putting himself more in the corner, which you're down for, or he can wave dash in, probably get hit, or he can short hop or full hop aerial and probably get hit. The one thing you don't really want to do is jump in and start shield pressuring him. Marth is probably the best character in the game against Falco shield pressure, just in terms of like, it's really hard. Like, again, yeah, like Fox has a way better shine at a shield, but Marth has this weird like, I accidentally light shielded a little bit, and now like your shine doesn't hit after the down air, and now I just grab you. And Marth has like a lot of those moments where he just kind of like, oops, you got grabbed. And so like I don't super advocate for like going for a lot of shield pressure on Marth. By the time he's shielding, you already have such a strong pressure if you just decide to like keep the pressure on with like another laser. So yeah. An example of how this situation might go if you played it differently would be, And it's not like a clear win, because, like, yeah, him shielding your laser from this distance is never, like, a clear win. But what I would probably do is I would do dash in, dash back laser in place right here. That's like one option you can do. And so if you did that instead, what would have happened is you would be here lasering, and it would cancel him out of this fair. And what that does is that gives you another short approaching laser right here, because it's out of the max drift range of his fair. And it puts him at a slightly, like, uncomfortable position in the air, and it'll most likely cause him to... He can drift forward and get hit, or he can drift back and have taken one laser more of damage, and be more in the corner. So it's basically like you can convert this situation where you have this laser on shield, which was totally in neutral. This wasn't, you didn't like get an outplay. This is just the strength of Falco, is that you're just in neutral, you're just playing the game, and you just get him shielding right here. This is why Falco is such a monster character, because, like, you didn't do anything to get an advantage. Like, you didn't bait him, and you didn't, like outspeed him or outposition him or anything. Falco just gets this auto outpositioning. So, trying to convert this sort of super slight neutral advantage that you get for free into an automatic nair, like great opening, is just like, it's too much of a leap from neutral game into I'm punishing you. And that's not really like the way that Falco works the best. So what you want is you want to say this situation of slight advantage into I can sort of dash dance back and forth, make your shield smaller, and Marth does get shield poked a lot, so he has to worry about that. You can sort of just make the shield smaller, maybe get this laser, get a little bit more advantage. He sort of has to drift back more in the corner, taking more damage, he's in an awkward spot. All kinds of good things come from that. And then from that position, then maybe you dash dance, Marth goes into the corner, you get a laser, now he's trapped in the corner and you're lasering him, and now you're like, okay, now I have my big advantage. So I want you to look at this matchup from more of a perspective of, like, you start out with a neutral advantage. Like, you start out with the lasers, that gives you an advantage in neutral. And your job is to convert those positions to slightly more advantageous positions until you can get Marth to, like, swing in a bad way and get you a nice big opening. Because trying to hit Marth when Marth is sort of just doing nothing, like, even, like, this type of nothing where he's, like, shielding, like, trying to hit Marth when he's just kind of in an actionable state is what gives him the favor in the matchup in a lot of cases. Like, trying to hit Marth out of Marth doing nothing a lot of times can create, especially when he's in center, not like in the corner, it's like not an advantage because he can just randomly clip you here. And you're at 0, so you were actually pretty safe to do that against fair, but Nair could have been bad news. Is this making sense? Do you have any questions? I'm curious what your thoughts are on the stuff I'm talking about.
No, it's making a lot of sense. I don't think I really have any questions right now. I'm just kind of like conceptualizing what you're saying and thinking about how I'm going to implement it. It's all making sense to me.
Okay. So even notice that even right here, that's okay. This is actually awesome. You repeat the same exact situation, but you do the thing I was saying, kind of, and it gives you an advantage spot. You don't take it, it's okay, but look, this is the same thing. So this was the result of laser instant dash in Nair on his shield, which is just like a pure gamble, and honestly like a disadvantageous gamble. And so you get hit. So ignoring that, now we're here. This is dead neutral. Like, this is the deadest of dead neutral. Like, you're literally landing on, like, the same frame. So what you do is you dash. There's not really a reason to do this little dash back here, but it's fine. I do it too, just out of, like, I know I'm far enough, but let me get a little more. Just, Marth's kind of scary, so I feel that. So he recreates this exact interaction. The exact interaction that just happened. Except you do dash in, dash back. He does the same fair. Like, you literally get to see this again.
Yeah, this is hilarious.
But then, so the thing is, so you can, right here, go in with an approaching laser. This is like where you like jump in, approaching laser, and you put him in that awkward spot I was talking about, right? But let's say you don't, and you just dash danced again. you can approaching laser right here. Look it. He's in the corner. This situation right here. This is great to look at. So this situation right here, which was bad for you, this situation got turned in from this spot. Just look at this freeze frame. This gets turned into not that, because you jumped in too late with the laser, but like it gets turned into this, which is really good for you because you can just get a laser to center. So imagine you here with a laser out and an approaching laser, so you get the little slide forward, and he's in corner like this. You got that from what was literally dead neutral a second ago, and honestly you were a little in the corner and he was shielding in center. So you can take those little tiny advantages and then turn them into like, aha, now I have an approaching laser on Marth, he's at 30 and he's in the corner. Like, here we go. And then, yeah, once Marth is in the corner, it's just like the pressure is so strong. Okay, yeah, spots like this. So, first of all, be really careful with cornering yourself here. When Marth goes to the platform, you can beat Marth fair off the platform by being like here. And so by going here, you're like, he's basically getting to do the thing that you get to do, but he's doing it like the fake cheater way. Like, not the fake cheater way, but it's like not a real way. Where like he's like, you're here, and he's like, oh no, this is like so uncomfortable. Like, I'm getting big time pressured. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna full hop to side plat, and you're like, okay, you have center, I'll take corner. And so he kind of gets this like mini advantage thing for free just because you go too far into the corner. And then you do this approaching laser. The main thing with Marth fair off the platform is just don't get hit by it. Like this, he went his max distance, so you can see where the actual distance that you can stand is. So look, so he went almost his max distance. He fast-falled a little bit. But basically right under this edge of the platform, you're safe. And it actually takes him a little while to get down here from this platform. Like, it actually takes him a decent amount of frames to get down and actually swing his sword. And so you can actually kind of hang out right here and just sort of like, are you going to come down? You going to come down? And if he whiffs this forward air and you're barely out of his range, a lot of times you can get like a down air punish or just get a laser advantage. Because I don't know, Marths after this fair, like I've never seen a Marth do anything but dash back here. So a lot of times they just fair dash back and then you just get a laser and they're like back in the corner again and you just like invalidated their defensive position kind of. Oh, and this is what I was saying. This is like where I was like, yeah, this is what you want, where you like laser. You get this laser, you see Marth jumping, you're like, oh, okay, I'll get in closer. Then you get this laser, you just dash dance around the possible fair, which is good. He shields. Are you going in? Nah, you're just chilling. Then you go in. This was a little bit of a gamble I see now. I would have probably liked another laser here, but just the idea that you didn't go in on any of these, like you didn't go in here, you didn't go in here, you didn't even go in there, which is like, I feel like he really thought you were going to go in there. Which is why he held shield. Like, right here, he thought you were coming in. And that's why he just goes and shields. And you're just kind of letting him suffer. Like, his shield's getting smaller. He starts throwing stuff out. And then you get a nice opening. And that's a lot of times how the neutral is going to go. Aha! Look at this. This fair dash back. This is exactly what I was saying. So, it's really easy to look at this fair and say, I couldn't punish it. But that's not correct. So when he does this fair, you're like, oh, he just gets to fair for free and I can't punish it. But when he dashes back and you get this laser, it was no longer for free because this fair, it got you a laser damage. And laser damage, it seems really tiny. It's huge. Like if you hit like 20 lasers of stock, you're getting like 40 damage. Like that's a ton. And so like you get a laser damage, which is always good, and he's more in the corner. Like, so even though you weren't able to get a win off of this fair, you get like a tiny win, which gives you a little bit of like an advantage in neutral. Okay, so, and yeah, getting cornered like this is just such a headache. Like if you end up here, I really like, Marth has a super hard time approaching this outside corner of the platform. Let me just show you really quick. he super struggles approaching this outer corner, and so I actually abuse this a lot. And on pretty much every stage. So let's see here, Falco, Marth, Battlefield, and so Marth is like here, and let's see, Marth is like here, and I'm here. So Marth will do a thing where he goes like this, because that's what they do a lot there. But you just do this, and oh, you just do this, and you're totally safe, like every time from this nair. And this is like a crazy spacing to do the nair at, and a crazy timing. But basically, this nair will almost always miss, and you actually get a punish out of it, like the majority of the time. Although I seemingly can't at all. Yeah, I get so many punishes out of this, and a lot of times my favorite part is that. So a lot of times they can't get a punish, and they will do something like, I'll do this, where they dash dance, and I'll do this, and then, so I do something like this, and then they expect this. So they want me to do, they want me to do this, so that they get their little, so they want this, where I go up, and then they get like this, right? They want that, and Marths go for this all the time. But then what you can actually do is you just go up here like this, and then you just short hop, and you just nair like that, or you down air like that, and it'll just get them, because you go this, that, this, or you just go up here, and you do this, and you short hop, and a lot of times they get, like, let me see, so I just wait a second, and then I'll do this nair, or this nair. And so a lot of times you can just get like this. I get this so much, or this. And then a lot of times you can also just do that. So this corner of the platform gives you so many options. Like, look at how far away his sword is when he goes for like this counter on like this like falling laser or approaching laser. Like it just misses, and a lot of times I'll get like a shield drop there or a short hop there, depending on like the timing. And so this outer edge of the platform is actually mad safe against Marth. So I just wanted to sort of show you that like a lot of times when you're in the corner here, you can actually just instantly be like, it's okay, like right here, I can understand shield dropping here, but then right here, if you just instantly go back up to the corner, he has an incredibly difficult, if not impossible, time actually punishing that, and it lets you just get your full hops out, or do mix-ups where you're like, oh, I'm gonna fall, and then if he tries to punish the laser, he gets hit, and if he doesn't, then you get to fall and laser, and I'll sit here and I'll chill, and then I'll do, oh, am I gonna fall? Am I gonna fall? Drop laser, dash full hop, and I just get back to center, and he took a laser damage, stuff like that.
I see.
Okay, and then there's like another whole thing with like edge guarding Marth, but I honestly think that is like the next step. Like after you kind of get this down, then you can work on like combos and like edge guarding and stuff like that. Right now, I just want you to focus on like winning neutral as much as possible.
For sure.
And yeah, when he's in the corner, it's just like suffering. A lot of Marths go for this, like this type of thing right here, where they get this waveland, and it seems super scary, but it's really not, because you can actually, like, okay, so let's look at this. So Marth is, let's see, he's full hopping. Let's say you can tell on this frame, even though you can probably tell earlier. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Like, it's like 19 frames or something. Like, from when you can kind of tell he's full hopping. So a lot of times you'll end up in spots where you'll kind of do like a laser, and you'll kind of see him jump up, and you're just like, ah, he's probably full hopping there. And you can just like up air right here, or shine right here, or full hop aerial and just go to plat right here. So like, it's basically like this full hop situation, a lot of people have trouble with it, but it's kind of nice to know that the reason Marth is just jumping, and like, it's like if you're not afraid of Fox doing full hop waveland right here, because you can just shine him, you shouldn't be afraid of Marth doing it. It's basically the same thing. And so basically when Marth does this, just be happy because you're like, huh, I made every good option Marth had look like a bad idea, so he went for this. And you're not always going to get a punish on this, but it is something that you will get punishes on eventually. And so it's just like, just don't be discouraged if Marth does that. Just be like, oh, nice. Like, he didn't want to do any of his better options. And yeah, even I would still say work on like the basic punishes a little bit and like watch some VODs of like basic punishes. I think that you're going for a lot of these like short hop nairs in situations where they're not super relevant. You only really want to nair when Marth is going to be in the air. And you don't really know when Marth is going to be in the air unless you've pinned him in the air with like a laser. This is like another situation right here where it's kind of like you laser. You get, so remember, he took laser. So his options are he can dash back into the corner, he can wall, or he can try to move in, and you can kind of prevent him from moving in. So what does he choose here? He chooses wall. And so that is part of why you don't really want to like just go in right away. You want to just check to see if he's going to wall here more often than not. He doesn't really want to approach because he can get hit too easily. So the wall and the move back, but moving back puts him in the corner is kind of disfavorable. So you just have to really like account for these more so than like, I hit Marth with a laser, and sometimes my aerials will hit him here, so I'm going to go for it. Marth just kind of dominates those. Super hard. There's an argument to be made. It's kind of hard to, like, stuff like this is a little complicated. There's an argument to be made that this nair is good because Marth Fair doesn't actually put you in, like, you could have slid this off type of thing. But that's not the general case. Okay, accident. I see. Oh, what happened here? And yeah, like that. Marth kind of isn't that comfortable on the platform, even though they like, haha, I escaped by going to side plat, and you're like, like I don't know, Marth just isn't that strong there. Really not incredibly strong on the side plat. Kind of gets pressured. And yeah, there's that corner situation again, trying to hit Marth at 0 with a down air. Okay, yeah, he just kind of like cheeses that out. Okay, I think we're about at an hour. Yeah. Okay, so obviously there's a lot to work on in this matchup, and it's definitely mad complicated, and I think that there are things you're doing right, but I think those things are almost like, like they're kind of by chance or like random still, and I think once you can sort of get the matchup into a little bit better of like a simplified plan, then the parts that you already sort of subconsciously understand from Fox and stuff like that actually start coming out a lot more. Because Fox, the way Fox can kind of do well against Marth is by abusing his speed, and Falco kind of does well against Marth by like slowing down Marth so much that he appears fast. And so basically, like, you can't really access the sort of Fox mix-ups yet that, you know, your brain probably has. That I can kind of tell, like, you have some stuff against Marth, but it doesn't really line up because Falco is just slower. And so you have to learn this laser game that I kind of went over and sort of implement it, and I think it'll sort of just slow Marth down enough that things will start making a little bit more sense and you'll be able to, like, push forward a little bit better.
It makes sense. Yeah, that's everything you've said has been helpful for sure, and I definitely got, you know, think about it more. It's kind of like what you said. I feel like a lot of the stuff I'm doing is just kind of subconscious. It's almost like I'm just throwing darts at a wall and seeing which ones are decent, you know, and trying to like pull all the things that happen to work together into something. But
yeah, so okay, so basically what I'm saying is that all you really need is like this systematic foundation, and then you can kind of do the subconscious what works and what's not thing once you already have this sort of framework that makes the matchup a little simpler and more like systematic, I guess. Then you can kind of use a lot more subconscious stuff. But right now it's like because there's not enough order, the subconscious stuff doesn't really have like a direction, and I think it sort of can be like confusing because of that.
Exactly. But yeah, like you said, once I get it together in my mind, like this is kind of what I'm aiming for here, then it'll start working a lot better, I think.
Main thing I can give you. Oh yeah, what's up?
I was just gonna say I'm not even sure if I do laser dashback much. Like I'm glad you pointed that out because I'm sure I do it sometimes, but never consciously. That's just one of the things that I need to like put into the game plan.
Yeah, just kind of do it over and over.
Yeah, and I didn't know it was that safe at close range. Like,
it's crazy, right? Dude, I didn't either. I tested it, and I was like, dude, I'm like lasering Marth from like right in front of him, and he can't hit me.
Yeah, that blew my mind, actually.
I honestly just think like, so because that's how safe you are against grounded Marth, and then once you get really good at lasering aerial Marth and spacing around that, he starts to feel really like boxed in and like he doesn't have a lot of ways to really get you. And then once you start doing that, you start being like, well, he can't get me. Maybe I can threaten getting him. And that's when you start doing the sort of center stage to corner stuff. And it all starts like lining up a lot better, I think.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah. Good talking to you, man. I'll send you the payment info and stuff like that. And keep me updated. Let me know how this goes. Or if you have any like clips or questions later, I'm totally down to answer them for you. And
awesome. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a good one, man. Peace.
You too. Thanks.
Okay. That was fun. How's the tournament going? Who won? H God? Okay. That makes sense. Because he probably just beat like wait, so Jmook beat Zane in losers finals? That makes sense, yeah. Jmook beat Zane again? Well, Jmook beat Zane in winners, but not in like losers, right? Did Jmook double eliminate Zane? Is the tournament over? Okay, Jmook double eliminated Zane. Okay. Sheesh, dude. Sheik Marth is so bad. It is really funny to watch Zane get bodied by Sheik. It is really funny. Jmook getting second's crazy. Dude, having a free W, not free, but like having like a win, like a winning matchup over Zane is such like a huge buff. Like it's such a huge buff for like tournament play. To just be like, well, I went game 5 with Smash Daddy. It's kind of a struggle, you know? And then Zane, oh, that guy's free. I just beat Zane and, like, you know, get second. It's like, oh, okay. Like, that's nice. Yeah, it's very rock, paper, scissors-y, for sure. And I feel like Cody probably would have beat Jmook, you know? Okay, wait, I got a couple subs. Let's see. Yo, Sven, thank you for the tier 2 sub. I appreciate it, dude. I just DM'd you on Discord without remembering you subbed. Yo, Monty99 Slayer, thanks for the prime. It's 28 months, dude. You're the homie. Thank you so much. 28 months is crazy. Like, you didn't abandon me even when I stopped streaming for, like, months. That's so sick. The true homie. Spamming the 5003 happies. Okay, well, yeah, good job to HBox for winning. Good job, Jmook beating double eliminating Zane. That's just so crazy. Like, that's just instantly makes Jmook, like, look top 3. Just because he gets to beat Zane every time. Jmook reverse 3-0'd Zane twice. I think it's definitely a bit more than the matchup. Jmook just a monster. It's a little bit more complicated than that. Like, Zane is definitely still a better player than Jmook. I think he has a little bit of a mental thing with Sheik, but the mental thing comes from the matchup being hard. This is what people don't understand. It's like, they're like, yeah, Zane just mentally destroyed all the foxes. And then it's like, yeah, and when he gets mentally destroyed by the Sheiks. And I also think Jmook is really good, but I also think that, like, fast Sheik, who's not lazy like Plup Sheik, is, like, completely unheard of. Like, this is the first time Melee has ever had to adapt to, like, a good Sheik. Like a good Sheik. Like, the last, like, good Sheik we really had was, like, Mewtwo King. And, like, people had to adapt a little bit to Face Roll and Spark, but you realize, like, a few little holes in their styles, and then, like, they can kind of lose to people below them. But Jmook is, like, the first one who's like, okay, I'm, like, solid, I am a good Sheik, and I am fast. And people are like, oh, we did not account for that for the last 5 years. So people have a lot of catching up to do against Jmook, I think. Yeah, not really since KK, too. Yeah, it's been rough. Like, there's just not a lot of good Sheiks, so I think it definitely is kind of a crazy period right now where, like, no one is good against Sheik. Like, I don't know if people are really noticing that, but, like, everybody's kind of bad against Sheik. Even, like, the Spaceys are not like, yeah, I'm just, like, a Sheik Slayer right now. Like, they're just not that confident in it. I was bonkers good against Sheik. I was definitely, like, unbeatable against Sheik at some point. And I definitely think I would still be beating Jmook if I played Fox. But I'm just saying. You yoinked everything you do? Yeah, thank you. I definitely think I made that matchup very, very frustrating for Sheik. Alright, I'm going to find somebody to raid. Going to get to programming for the day. I don't want to raid anybody. I'm raiding Leffen. I don't care. I'm not going to go to his stream, though. Stole the details, so let's go. Alright, hope everybody has a good one. That was a fun lesson. I'm going to keep working on coding for today, so peace.